brush with the Kowalskis. Ross's first encounter with the Kowalskis happened when Annette Kowalski attended a painting class he held as a means to cope. At the time, she was desperately grieving the loss of her son and sought a means to escape her pain. Ross's class would turn out to be exactly what she needed, as she was mesmerized by the way he painted. Annette was the wife of Walt Kowalski, a retired CIA agent who had a knack for business and the connections to be successful at it. Their brush with Ross led to the television show The Joy of Painting, and the celebrity status Ross would later enjoy as a result of the TV show. In 1983, The Joy of Painting was created, and PBS stations across the country picked it up. It would air on PBS for 11 years, and in 1984, Bob Ross Inc. was launched by the Kowalskis and the Rosses. Bob and his wife Jane shared equal partnership with Annette and her husband Walt. They had managed to create the perfect avenue to spread the value of art around the world, as the show managed to broadcast to 277 stations daily, reaching over 80 million people. By 1991, their sacrifice had paid off. What was once a company built with an idea of what could be had turned into a $15 million per year enterprise. Unlike the Kowalskis, Ross did not care much for the money that was earned. Instead, he was more interested in creating a platform where people could learn art much like he had, and have quality products while they learned the craft. The Kowalskis cared more about maximizing profits, even if that included cutting corners. It is often said that money has a way of bringing out people's true personalities, and in the case of Ross and the Kowalskis, this would not be far from the truth. The Kowalski family had not given up their plans to own everything that concerned the artist. With each passing day when he did not sign, they grew even more agitated. Ross's life meant nothing to them past getting a single signature on a piece of paper. For them, his legacy and likeness were more important than the man himself. The Kowalskis constantly bothered the Ross household with calls, caring nothing for the dying man who had taken to bed for his last days of peace before he left the world. Steve recalled in an interview that his peaceful father lost his peace with every phone call. He would often hear him shouting in his room, yelling, "You're not getting my name, I'm not giving you my name." Although Ross tried to hold on to what he cherished, keeping away the Kowalskis for as long as he could never have expected what would happen following his death. The Kowalskis countered his will, claiming ownership of everything that Ross had owned during his time working under Bob Ross Inc. The Kowalskis had done their research and were in it for all or nothing. In an interview he had, Steve recalls a phone call he received from Annette 2 days after the death of his father, where she told him he could never create a business regarding painting with the Bob Ross name. However, he was free to do anything else as long as it was not related to painting. At the end of his life, Ross had done all in his power to make sure that the Kowalskis never ended up with his intellectual properties, including his name and likeness, certain to address these issues in his will. He went as far as marrying his third wife, the nurse he had met while he was in the hospital. However, that would do nothing to prevent what was to come. The Kowalskis sued for Ross's estate, suing both his third wife and half-brother. They wanted everything that he had worked on and worked with, from the paintings he had made to the paintbrushes that swiped across the canvases to create the artwork. The Kowalskis were on a suing spree. Not only did they sue the Ross family, but they also sued WIPB-TV, the PBS station that had been home to The Joy of Painting show and a PBS children's TV show, for $500,000. They had taken everything, including the tape recordings of conversations between Ross and the Kowalskis. Unfortunately, Steve lost his lawsuit against Bob Ross Inc. in June 2019.